Yeah, groundbreaking.
How's it going, Bharath? Welcome to the groundbreaking.
Hey, it's going great. I very happy to be here. One of my first few podcast appearances, and yeah, I feel like all my experiences have led me to being here and talking to you about working in the
Yeah,
creative industry and
yeah.
this
I
thing
mean,
called work.
I'm already excited to about the questions that we're gonna tackle and the conversation we've had previously.
Yeah.
Tell us a bit about yourself. What kind of work you've been doing lately? What has been your journey like? If you can give us a quick go through.
Okay. I'll not like give you like a CV rundown of sorts. That's just too boring. But yeah, started in the creative industry. A lot like most people do, which is I think mostly just sort of some kind of an accident. They end up here. Uh, and yeah, my story is much the same thing. I engineer by education, and like most engineers, we didn't know what to do after
Yeah.
engineering, so thought advertising is cool and much more my jam. It's only after I started writing scripts and stuff that's like, oh, this stuff is really hard. uh, so yeah, I started off as a copywriter. Writing was the one thing I knew I could do in this field, and eventually moved or like sort of grew into the role of a creative lead. Started leading creative teams. This was in agencies, digital agencies, mainline agencies, Dentsu, DDB Mudra, to name a few. And yeah, and after 6 or 7 years, I felt that one, I had reached some kind of a saturation level in at least the agency work culture, work life. And two, I just wanted to like one do something different, but not go too far, like not like go do like some become a trek guide or something. Like I wanted to do something slightly different in the same field. And I also noticed that the industry was moving in a different direction. I decided to do what most people in the industry would say, go into the dark side, which is go join the brand side. But I was doing more of the same thing in the brand side. I joined the brand team and built a creative team in the brand team because that's the model that the industry was going towards, and that's primarily what I've been doing. I would say multiple in terms of work, like there's campaigns, there are branding projects, there are things to be launched, things to be reworked. Like we can discuss that. But yeah, so I've been primarily dealing with communication campaigns, how creativity can be used, let's say in marketing and advertising. That's, I mean, like everybody, whenever they see a creative and it's like it's not great, so let's call Bharat. It's like I'm like the
Yeah.
person you call in when
Yeah, I'm gonna start our conversation with like a banger question that's
yeah.
that's everywhere. Are we gonna replaced by AI soon or anytime soon? What are your thoughts on it?
um
Since you're at the forefront of it.
Given the way things are going, I certainly think that AI will replace a lot of the things we do. I think at some level, I maybe this is my own ego or not sure, but at some level, I feel we are the way we think is probably not replicable. Uh, because even to use AI, one of the things we all have realized is that it relies entirely on the skill of the prompter to actually get it to do what you need to do. But yeah, I think a lot of the work we do, a lot of the repetitive work we do, a lot of the BAU, which doesn't require, let's say, creative leaps that come maybe through brainstorming sessions and through like really like thinking deep. I think those will be replaced by AI, and I think it's already happening. Like you want to write like some kind of an ad copy, I think AI will do a very decent job, which is getting harder and harder for me to like uh, identify. Let's say because my team sends me copy, and I'm like, first filter is, did you AI this? Okay, so we'll see.
Yeah, but I think that that's inevitable, right?
Yeah.
How are you? I think we are like a lot of us talking about like AI is gonna replace designers and
Yeah.
whatnot,
Yeah.
but at the same time, you need to have some kind of a taste, right, in
Yeah.
order to actually be replaceable by
Yeah.
AI.
Yeah.
So I actually want I like before before moving forward, and go into the depth of your journey and the things that are happening around the world. How what has changed, like remarkably what has changed? You worked at one of the top agencies in the country, one of the some of the biggest campaigns. Something has changed, so it's maybe just been like couple of years of AI into the
Yeah.
scene,
Yeah.
but how much it has changed, like from a foundational perspective, and generating something that's gonna go out in the production in the
Right.
real world. What has it impacted, and what are your thoughts around?
Maybe I'll answer this question two ways. I think marketing has slightly changed in how it was traditionally done. When you say marketing, people 10 years or before 10 years, they used to think, okay, like some kind of a TV ad, like that we're probably going to end up seeing on TV, right? Like some kind of a television commercial. They would think television commercial, but now it's not the first thing you think of, because a lot of people have realized, and for a lot of brands, it doesn't make sense. So marketing has, uh, I don't want to uh, use the terms that the industry uses, but growth marketing, especially if you're not a brand, a well-established brand, or a FMCG brand, let's say, which needs to advertise on television. Marketing has moved more towards growth, or the growth mindset, um, where it's more data driven, where it is more audience driven, where it is more tailored to, let's say, capturing one, talking to one specific types of audience, and just dealing, I mean, very targeted campaigns, which platforms like Google and Meta allow you to do. That's one part. I think that's, I mean, I have literally lived through this, where I've seen spends go from brand marketing campaigns to, let's say, lead generation and performance marketing campaigns, and the spends, I would say, is very skewed in that direction at the moment. um as far as, let's say, us creative people are concerned, I think, when I joined, let's say, old school advertising folks will tell you, the our entire goal was just to say what is the wackiest, craziest, newest, most original thing we can come up with, right? There's a lot of emphasis on that. Of course, not every brief you would be like, how do I do this?
Yeah.
But when we sat to brainstorm and we sat to think of this was the basically the gauntlet. We're like, we have to come up with the most unique thing possible. I would say I have not been in the agency circles for a while, but I would say even there, and I have lots of colleagues and ex-colleagues and friends who are still there. I would say this has moved more towards, um, can we create something that works for this brand and for this brief? And if it is good enough, let's go ahead with it. I wouldn't call it, I mean, a couple of people in the industry have called it mediocritization of work. I wouldn't call it mediocrity, but I think we are far more okay with, this is a fairly good idea with a fairly good script, and like, it seems to work for the brand. Let's go ahead with it. Like, I think there is less emphasis on, come on, guys, like, let's think. Like, we spend days writing scripts and thinking of ideas. I think that focus somewhere, I mean, it has to be people like us who drive that, but I feel it's more towards volume. Like, how many different things based on this idea can we do, rather than that one big idea that gets everybody excited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you started your career as a copywriter, right? Right,
Yeah.
Bharat. So I was having a conversation earlier today, where we were talking about, like, I have closely seen my clients, and some of them are like really big. One of the biggest fintech. They are, like they used to have a writing team, but now they don't.
Okay.
And product managers are writing copies, designers are writing copies, which is actually kind of maybe, it's like a missed opportunity, right? Of them writing this copy, or like a copywriter writing that
Yeah,
copy.
yeah.
Do you think it matters, or doesn't matter at all? I was just wanted to know from you, like, since you have
Yeah.
like huge
I'd,
copywriting career.
yeah. I would say I very rarely see. Back in the day when I started my career, I would see lots of writing which would one give you the feeling that, oh my god, I wish I had written that. It is so beautiful, right? um, that does happen nowadays too, but it's far more rare and it's far less seen um, in an ad, let's say. It's more seen like you go to some kind of a reel and you see the comment section, and like there are some comments which are like very well written, like it's great
Oh yeah,
copywriting.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, all the
yeah,
time.
all the time,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Whereas you don't see it in an ad,
Yeah,
which is
yeah, you know what? Some great copywriting is happening in the comments, by the
yeah,
way, right?
which is what I noticed too. So it's not that great copywriting doesn't exist. So anyway, coming back to your question, so when I see that, especially having been on the brand side and knowing how things function, where it's just like you have to get this done now. So that the product manager would have just opened up chat gpd and prompted it and come up with something, and okay, like this is fine, it makes sense, let's go ahead with it. So I understand it from that perspective, but as a copywriter I feel like I rarely see a line generated by AI, or even otherwise. I see in an ad, which I feel like I can't do a better job of. Like I'll be able to, like, if you are thinking at this level, I'll at least be able to think at one level deeper. Whether it's a consumer insight, whether it's something related to the product, or like the way it's been metaphor allegorically like explained. Like I always feel like I can do a better job. Maybe it's the copywriter's curse that every time I see a line, no, that should be better. But
Yeah.
yeah, but to answer your question, that is not always needed. That is only needed in some instances. If you're spending lakhs of rupees on an ad, yes, then I would say no, this needs to be better. If it's just something that needs to go like an email, so it's fine.
Yeah. I mean, as they say, right? Great design are mostly words, right? As they say, it's a great statement. I don't know where have
Yeah.
I heard it.
Yeah.
So I think I know a lot of folks who started as a copywriter and now leading teams, creative teams, leading campaigns and stuff like that. I actually run a design and a creative agency.
Yeah.
We work a lot with brands, and it has been, I mean, suddenly, not suddenly, like I've seen it coming, like it has become so important to be original. Like, I mean, this, because there's a plethora of people, there are a plethora of agencies, a lot of freelancers, but I've seen that they are so overwhelmed and maybe are not caring a lot about marketing, that they've decreased down their budget and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Where is it heading? So I mean, people like me should shut down my business, or like we need to reinvent, or like where is it going? We just want to know your thoughts from that side, on the table.
Okay. So I'll just tell you personally, working at one a company which is always in the news, which is Ola, and my other company, which is StayVista. How these discussions go. It used to be that as a brand marketing team or as a marketing team, you always need agency support for specialized functions. I want to run an influencer marketing campaign, I need an influencer marketing agency. I want to produce a film, I need a production house at the very least. I need a team to creative agency to like put together the scripts, but also need a production house. I want to run another different type of campaign, I need this kind of agency. So it used to be that actually even before my time it was just one agency for all uh, communication related work, and that became fragmented into different agencies. Like one brands used to have one digital agency, one mainline agency, one production agency, one influencer marketing agency. So it became fragmented that way. And as I moved to the brand side, what started happening was these teams started forming in the brand team itself. The brand team has an influencer marketing team which does pretty much what an influencer marketing agency does. So as teams, creative teams, marketing teams, all these specializations that agencies provided outside, they become a part of the brand team or the marketing team itself. um, I would say, yeah, it doesn't look like what the agency model will be moving forward. I'm not sure either. I always feel that like the type of thinking and work that used to happen in agencies, at least when I was around, is going to remain. If we can just take the example of, I'll quote two very popular examples, Moonshot or Talented. The kind of work they do, I highly doubt they can happen inside the brand team. So there will always be a place and a time for agencies like that. I mean, that is in the creative space. I'm sure they exist in every space, but yeah, it isn't the case that every brand that wants to do something reaches out to an agency. Now they find it far more cost effective to just hire in house, and that to hire one designer. That's it. Just
Yeah,
hire a
yeah,
designer.
exactly.
That's it. That is creative.
That
team.
designer is also doing video.
Yeah,
also
video,
doing UI.
copy, everything.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
designer is creative team. It's okay.
I think I was talking about behind the camera that there's one fact that has come out of a study. So there was this survey that has happened with around like 5,000 folks, out of which role has more chances of burning out, and designers and creator was on the top.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You should hug your designers.
Yeah.
Like all the whoever's like non-creative who's listening to this.
Yeah, go give them a hug, guys. They really need it.
Right. So
Yeah.
let's talk a little about the kind of work you are doing at StayVista, Bharath,
Yeah.
and what are your responsibilities, and before that, I also wanted to was curious to know like your journey from like working in an agency to like a full-fledged brand. What's the difference? So if you can like take
Yeah.
us through all of that.
I would say I've had, much like any job, very good managers. I think it's what the first thing I'd say is just that, where as a creative person moving to a marketing team of a brand, find a manager who kind of gets creative work and how creative beings are. It's very important, and at least when you're making the transition, it's very important. Once you get settled in, it's okay. You can get by yourself. I would say this has been the biggest difference. You asked me the biggest difference. I would say the biggest learning has been that now I know why most of my big ideas would get rejected. Because I mean, in agencies we always used to sit and like, what is this? We came up with some such nice ideas, and then the client took none of them. Like, it's one of the most common.
Yeah, it's always the case.
Yeah, right? But now that I'm on the other side, now I'm like, okay, like even when I present an idea to the founder, it's like, okay, that's the reason why we can't do this. Usually it doesn't get relayed downstream. That's why creatives end up feeling very stressed and like, what is this? I would say I now understand how many factors are there, how many stakeholders are there in this decision making process, and as a result, like spending 2 CR on a campaign, sure, you can decide that it doesn't make sense. I get it. So I finally get that part. I also have developed, as you can imagine, a lot of empathy for the other side because I used to be very empathetic towards creatives and being like clients are some kind of demons.
Yeah.
Now that I'm a client, I'm like, okay, no, I mean, I get the other side. Yeah, and I would say those are the biggest.
What do you do at StayVista? What are you trying to do differently there? What's your objective, especially in your role, like leading the communication team? If I'm getting that right.
Yeah. So I lead the brand communication team at StayVista. I was hired as the brand communication manager, but I didn't have any team, so I had to put together a team. And yeah, we oversee all communications, whether it's on the website, whether it's in an ad, whether it's in a you go to a holiday villa and then you see something there. So all of that gets taken care of by us. I would say my primary goal, I would say, and I think creative directors would agree, is in managing creative people and in ensuring that they get you the right kind of output. It's one of the toughest things, I would say. It's I would much rather just like sit all morning and work on one campaign, but I can't. So I would say being in meetings with different stakeholders and managing creative team, I'd say takes up most of my time. I do make time for writing because I like being a copywriter, so that's something I still do. And yeah, I we as a team, we one of our tasks is to come up with ideas that um, maybe has potential to um, create awareness for the brand. Uh, as a startup, we can't really go and like find ad slots in during IPL, right? But we still got to do marketing and
Yeah.
come up with ideas which people will take note of, and we work towards that. It's one of the key things I work towards.
In our conversation also, you talked about, even you just mentioned that you like writing and you like to put your big ideas. How are you generating them, and do you think the big idea is there and anyone can like generate things from AI? Do you think would be right way of like generating original ideas, and what has been your style of writing, or like your process in order to generate something fresh?
Right.
Because there's so much that's already been done. The life of content is not so much now.
Correct.
How are you like working around this, all of this chaos?
So the way I learned as a creative person to come up with big ideas is get two or three people. You do this on a regular basis in a room, and use like a whiteboard wall. Start writing things start writing things you've thought of, and from there see how you can make a leap. Okay, so this is what it is. From here, can we go here? You wrote this line, I like this, but I want what if you said it this way? uh, this is what the product does, but what if this benefit can be dramatized this way? So you start asking questions like that, and if you dig very deep into your user, your audience, your consumer's life and what it means, you want to find some insights. And if you can connect the two, that's where the big idea lies. I want to give an example. The whole did you see the Bold Care campaign?
Oh yeah, the one that has this Ranveer Singh in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
They brought a porn star to
yeah,
this ad.
I mean, so they thought, okay, how do we?
It was by Moonshot, right?
It was my moonshot. I'm sorry if I quote too many moonshot campaigns, but I'm just
seem
saying.
to be a fan.
So they thought, okay, how do we advertise a product which is men's sexual health, right? It's often considered taboo, and while it's not as taboo as it was, it's still difficult to advertise. And they went from there to the film treatment of like your old TV Saas Bahu type serials,
Yeah.
right? And not only did they stop there, they thought it'd be funny to like bring in a famous porn star into the whole thing and treat it that way. So I mean that's how like you go from one place to you make the creative leap. That's what we call it. You jump different places, and then you find a way to like tie up the whole story together. That's how at least the big ideas we used to think of used to happen. Now I don't think AI is there where you can just prompt it something and it'll
Yeah.
give you this. It can't. Will it? Will there be a day in the future where this might happen? Sure. I would not rule that out given where we are. But yeah, this is how we used to. This is the big idea. I would say it's very it's this is the other thing I always urge teams to creative teams especially to sit in a room and bounce ideas and thoughts off each other, because that is where the creative leap
Yeah, I think
appears.
not a lot of teams are missing that lately. I've been noticing. It's just like people are working in isolation.
Yeah.
Everything has become like a deliverable and stuff like that. Considering like I closely work with clients and like
Yeah.
even having like a small team.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that's not gonna change. I think you need to put yourself in a space where there are a number of people talking about this idea and stuff like that.
in a room and where you're discussing the same thing, because if you have your way of thinking and your thoughts, right? Only when you hear from another person, wait, damn, that person thought about the same thing but in such a different way,
Yeah.
you two will combine to do create something
Yeah.
which neither of you would alone have come up with. Yeah, there are so many examples. You know, the very famous Ariel's share the load, even the line share the load. Apparently, there were 10 people in the room sitting and just jamming, and somebody said share the load, and the I forget the he's a very famous creative guy, creative director, said
Yeah.
that's the campaign. So you need that, otherwise that big idea is very hard to come by.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. And I think we are also in an era where a lot of things are colliding with each other. There's a lot of confusion. There's one side that is saying advertising it is dead. There's one side where there are people are saying print media is dead. At the same time, brands like Blinkit and kind of re-visualizing the experience, print media experience, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
What do you think? Is it always gonna be like these bigger people with bigger budget and maybe some creativity making some noise, or where it's heading? Because I think a uh, good idea, good copy, good strategy is even more needed to a smaller brand than to bigger brands.
Yeah.
So what do you think brand should work on, and where is it heading this way? Do you think there's more people are more open to do wacky things, just like that bold care example that
Yeah.
you've given?
Yeah.
How is it? What's gonna be the ecosystem for smaller brands that are coming along?
Yeah. Yeah, very good question. I think traditional media, print, television, radio, yeah, they're mostly used by um, companies and brands which are well established and which are in the consumer space, right? Like the and yeah, and it makes sense from a marketing budget perspective, but I don't want to discount certain media, even for new brands or new brands that are coming up, especially outdoor. I know you're referring to that with Blinkit. Blinkit and Zomato have used that media space very well, and yeah, it's a great way to do a campaign instead of pouring that money into, let's say, a television campaign. Um, i i honestly feel that even if you are a startup and a brand that is this just coming up, you should look at outdoor. If it is a very consumer based brand, you should look at PR. PR is now almost forgotten because people think that PR से कुछ नहीं होने वाला है.
Yeah. But
I
what are these brands getting wrong? Like, what are they doing wrong?
I think a lot of I think most of these brands feel that if I generate leads through very targeted digital ads, my job is done. um, I understand that, especially after working in a startup, that generating leads is very, very important. It's one of the things that every CEO wants to look at daily. Like, do we have enough queries, leads, people coming and inquiring about the brand? Does the sales team have enough people to? I mean, is there enough people in the funnel? I understand that, but I think the whole idea of like brand building that we used to do back in the day, where we used to think only as let's build a brand, I feel there's not enough focus, time spent doing that. It's just run ads and generate leads and convert them, and not enough time spent coming up with initiatives or coming up with ideas that just make your brand look like, hey, that's a cool thing, or hey, that's a nice thing that brand did. I feel we need such initiatives, because ultimately you only trust a service if you feel that that's a brand I know, that's a brand I trust.
Yeah, that's very well said.
Yeah.
So I think the way things are moving, there's this podcasting. There's like people are becoming all types of creators with
Yeah.
insane amount of storytelling.
Yeah.
Now, like actors are chilling with smaller influencers.
Yeah.
When I say small influencers, it's not their number of followers. It's about their reach
Yeah.
in general. Like as
Yeah.
a human being, they are
Yeah.
not like coming from an insane background. Like someone maybe sitting in a tier two city, is making content with like these
Yeah.
big actors.
Yeah.
What's the next phase for this? Like, do you think this is gonna become normal? So okay, every other day on LinkedIn, people are like, influencer marketing is dead, SaaS is dead, advertising is dead. But like, what do you really think about the next phase of creation and the creator economy and stuff? Like, how are
Yeah.
brands and creators are gonna
Yeah.
like work together?
Yeah.
What is gonna become according to you?
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's just really, um, it's the moment anybody declares something as dead, I know that they're just faffing. Like this, nothing is dead. Like it's just, I mean, it really like irritates me when I see, oh, this is dead. Like, no, it's not. Like, come on, you're just trying to get attention. Um, I've been thinking about this whole thing question that you've asked. And I very strongly feel two things are going to happen. I think we're going to reach a stage where, whether you like it or not, you and I will also have to become creators, or by default will become creators, in the sense that everybody will start creating content. Everybody will still, we will start putting stuff out, and everyone will have some kind of a digital footprint that way. I think the creator economy is, influencer marketing is not dead. The creator economy is only going to get bigger. And there are going to be even more people, even more players. Like you said, some random person from some place will also become a creator. And yeah, I think it's just going to be like, instead of your CV, you're gonna showcase your creator page, whether it's Instagram page or whatever. I think that's where we are headed. And as far as the immediate future is concerned, especially as a brand, and how where influencer marketing is going, I think this is another big change that has happened in my career, where media distribution went from big media companies to creators and influencers. Creators and influencers now own the most valuable distribution platform, which is which is their
Yeah,
platform, which is
yeah,
the pages, right? Any campaign you do, first thing you think of, okay, who are the influencers we can tie up with?
yeah,
Not, okay, so we'll buy these ad slots in the on these channels. No, that's how we used to think. Now is not the way I think anymore.
yeah.
And somewhere, the way the creator economy and then the influencer marketing has evolved, I feel, um, it's just created so much noise that somewhere the returns from influencer marketing are not what they used to be. It was always a hard thing to measure, but now it's just getting more and more difficult to really estimate what was the impact of doing this influencer collaboration. So in conjunction with that, I feel very strongly that the influencer is going to become a part of a brand team, and the brand team will start developing their own influencers. Like, companies and brands will be like, one of the things as a marketing team you should do is make the profile of a person and then build that profile as an influencer profile, whether it's the CEO, whether it's somebody who's great at, you know, social game. I mean, that can always be discussed, but yeah, I feel creators and influencers will become a part of the company, the brand
Yeah,
itself.
like a brand ambassador.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Instead of Shah Rukh
Yeah,
Khan, it's
yeah.
gonna be these creators.
And you can have like a number of brand ambassadors.
Yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's where it's headed, and I think it's only gonna get bigger. I don't see influencer marketing. I don't see that like in any time soon being dead for sure. It's only gonna become.
Yeah, I feel the same. It just I've been on different calls with the client, with potential clients, where they are like, where we are talking about, okay, they want a state of the art animation video, but then they are like, oh, itne mein to we can get like an influencer, and they, so it's also like a medium preference that has also think has been very difficult for, at least on my side, to kind of crack. A lot of times they don't understand maybe the value of animation or like a mixed media video and stuff like that. I think so this route of building like a set of brand ambassador, I think is a
Yeah.
way to go. In one of the conversation, we were talking about how these D2C brands are starting offline stores for the experience and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of brands are raising funds to start stores and stuff like that. And at the same time, there are people building all kinds of brands, from like undergarments
Yeah.
to sexual wellness brands
Yeah.
and stuff like that. What, according to you, are the if you had to start a brand tomorrow, say like a sexual wellness brand, since you talked about pool
Yeah.
care, and I think
Yeah.
it's India is still a very interesting and like a new market for
Yeah.
this this kind of a brand.
Yeah.
What would be your approach to build a brand like that,
Yeah.
or any
Yeah.
brand, like what?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the first thing I would do is one, for me to work on a brand, I feel that the product has to be great. I know
Yeah, not a lot
founders,
of people are talking about it.
most founders feel that their product is great, but
Yeah.
I feel like I have enough outsider perspective, having worked on 100 different brands. Is it a product that I'd buy? If it isn't, then I possibly can't market it the best way. And the second thing I would do, I would be like, either the founder or somebody in the founding team has to be someone who has media presence, social media presence, or media presence of some kind. So if you are putting together a founding team, get someone who has media presence also. Which is why Ranveer Singh as your founding member works.
Yeah.
Which is why a lot of these brands, like Kusha Kapila, is launching her own brand. Which is why a lot of these brands smartly have identified that having somebody like that in the founding team is an essential thing, because it which means that your brand ambassador is already there. Like, your brand ambassador is talking about the brand even before the brand is talking about itself. And the other part is, it also brings, like you said, it also brings some legitimacy to the brand. It isn't, oh, what is this brand? I've never heard of it. Oh, no, I remember that person was talking about it somewhere. So it's a legitimate brand. In the age of so many brands shouting all at the same time, yeah, it's very hard to decipher what is legit and what is not. So I would say that would be my starting point. And the other thing I want to really sort of drive home to every brand, and especially if I was building a brand, is that you have to be authentic. And let's just say authentic, it has to feel like that's a real person, and they're not trying to sell me. I mean, they are trying to sell something, but they're not trying to overly like sell me, please buy this, like,
Yeah.
not like that.
Because
So-
sales has a bad repo
Yeah.
around the
And now
market,
it's
yeah.
just like everybody's selling everything all the time, right? So authenticity, I think, as a just a general broad term, I would say that's the most important thing, especially if you're doing a consumer product. If someone can feel, even me, like, if I feel that, hey, whatever this person was saying was actually authentic, and this person wasn't saying something just to, like, sell his product, I'd be like, okay, I'll give this brand a try. Like, same thing happened with Whole Truth.
Oh yeah,
Right.
that's a great example.
I was like, I actually think Shashank Mehta, right? He's actually like trying to do something good in this space. So let me give his brand a try, and I use Whole Truth all the time. So I think that's a very good example of being. I mean, using. I mean, a lot of the things they do is actually quite old school in terms of advertising, but
Yeah.
it feels like it's authentic in a way, which is why I think a lot of the brand has a lot of legs. Like, it gets a lot of
Yeah,
believers.
I think this is a great example, and I think more such brands should come forward, especially around clean eating,
Yeah.
healthy snacks, and I think there's a lot of VCs seeking, like, we think that it's saturated, but there's a lot of addressable market out there. which is very interesting.
Yeah.
What the thing I like about the whole truth is that their branding, from what they say to their copies,
Yeah.
are like s- authentic, like this, like
Yeah.
straightforward, because it's backed by a great product.
I agree.
Right, and I think that's why it has become very difficult for people to trust a brand, because it's just marketing.
Yeah.
Majority of their stuff is just their funds are just going for the marketing and not the product.
Yeah.
That's why they are shutting down in maybe a couple of years. Right.
Because
So,
even that trick of, what you see on the label is what is there inside.
Yeah.
A lot of brands do it now. A lot of brands have taken that idea. It's not,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
actually a very old idea now.
Yep.
So, but what helps that brand is, as the CEO, as the founder, he's actually, I mean, he's ex Unilever, right? He's not a guy who was in front of the camera ever.
Yeah.
But he was like, he realized just how important that is, especially if you're trying to say you're a brand that, you're about the truth, and you're owning what you're selling. So it realized how important it is for you to be in front of the camera and be like, no, I support this, and I endorse this fully, right? So it kind of reinforces my point that you need to somewhere have the face.
Yeah.
Even if you have a very shy founder, I think there are some very shy founders. Like, I'll give you example, Zomato and Swiggy, right? Dipinder Goyal is not a shy founder. I think he likes being in the spotlight.
Oh yeah.
I think Swiggy founder Sri Harsha, he's actually a very shy founder apparently. It's not so, but Swiggy's built a really great brand.
Yep.
So it's not that can't be done, but if you have a founder who doesn't mind, and if you can convince him to, like, be the face of the brand, I think it's the best thing you can do today.
Got it. Got
Yeah.
the idea. Very interesting. What are your favorite brands these days? Like any bunch of brands that coming to your head, other than the whole truth, since we've talked enough about that brand.
Uh, I I am somebody who gives these D2C brands a try. If I see something on, this is the other thing about discovery these days. You discover stuff on Amazon, you
Yeah.
discover stuff on Instamart, right?
Yeah.
Like new brands. So if I see something interesting, and if I see something that is new, I'm far more interested to give it a try. I don't have, if you really ask me, I don't really have a favorite brand as such. But I mean, I can tell you the brands that are there on my phone, which I use, like Swiggy, Uber, the likes that you expect. Um, yeah, I mean, I don't have a favorite brand as such, but my favorite brand to follow in terms of content is still probably Zomato. Um,
Yeah, they've cracked it with like minimal tone of voice and visual
Yeah.
identity. I think they're doing
Exactly.
pretty great.
and I don't know what Cred is doing now, but at least until Moonshot was handling that account, I guess they're still handling. Their content game was really good. Like,
Yeah.
not just the ads, not just the
Yeah.
I mean, like, if you saw their page, they were doing so many interesting things
Yeah.
with their content, and they one of the first few companies to invest very heavily into content. Some of their, I mean, I was like, you spent so much money on one reel. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I can't believe it. Like, you got like
Yeah.
Ravi Shastri to do like some kind of a rap for one reel. Like, wow. I mean,
Yeah.
hats off to you, but yeah, I mean, some examples.
Yeah, so someone said on Twitter a couple of days back that Cred is not a fintech company, but it's a design and animation studio. And that, I mean, I have close friends working
Yeah.
at Cred, and
Yeah, yeah.
the way they work.
One of
which
the
is-
things they say about Cred is like Kunal knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's it's by design, creative first and content first, because I think that's inbuilt into the product somewhere.
Yeah, and I think brands like Zomato and Cred kind of also push the ecosystem in a way where that B2B companies, or like they don't need to be boring, like even
Yeah.
if they work around finance. So I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
what I've been seeing, which is an interesting observation for me, like, okay, whoever do the content, like even if you're creating it by AI or whatever, even the boring SaaS companies are trying to be creative.
Yeah.
VC firms are trying to be creative, right? So everyone's. I got an. We are working with this one of the really famous VC, and their main brief was that they want to build a brand out of
Yeah.
that VC,
Yeah.
which is crazy,
Yeah.
right? I mean, 5 years ago, if someone would have told you that VC firm is trying to build a brand,
Yeah.
you would be like, oh, what are you saying, right? So,
Yeah.
super interesting time, and I
Yeah.
think it's a. Why do you think people are trying to build brands out of all the boring businesses and stuff like that? Do you think they're gonna get more distribution or a
I
recall?
think a lot of people, because of the prevalence of, let's say, social media, have realized that just how much cred, to use that word again, your a brand or a business can get from something that is well executed on that platform. And especially if it can be creative in some way. I think, I mean, they are consuming content. They are consuming content from other brands and being like, hey, why can't our brand do this also? And yeah, I think it probably makes them think that with AI they can do anything, which is not the
Yeah,
case.
yeah, all the
It's
time.
it's still very hard to do
Yeah,
that. But yeah, I see, yeah, B2B brands. I see, like you said, investor
yeah,
firms. If you want to build a brand, I'm like, what, really?
yeah,
I think it's a great sign, which for the whole ecosystem is a good sign that now everyone wants to build some kind of a brand, which I feel is good for my job, because then I might have this job for a few more years at least before AI takes over. Yeah.
But so I think I keep getting into the conversation with people when I tell them that okay, I run a design studio, design operations company, and it just takes them a second to tell me that oh, what are you gonna do in couple of years because it's dying. The people
Yeah.
don't need agencies and stuff like that. Uh, what okay, so if I'd like if I I'd ask you personally to kind of how should traditional agencies or agencies who are kind of working as an extension of a brand, how should they reposition themselves? What would be your approach, considering that you're working on the other side and you've
Yeah.
also worked in the agency
Yeah.
for a long time?
The thing that I tell even my agency friends, I think agencies should reposition themselves for very high quality. We will only do very high quality work, because I mean, you can use ChatGPT
Yeah.
and you can use AI for like mundane BAU work. You come to me for very high quality work. If you don't want the run of the mill stuff, you come to me. I think that is the way to go. And I see some other. I mean, that's why Talented and Moonshot works,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like they're booked for months together because the clients who go to them want that crazy work. And I think, I mean, that it doesn't have to be at that level. It can be even be at, you want to run a Google ad campaign or a Meta ad campaign, and you don't want to do run of the mill stuff. uh, we are here for that. But I think agencies should like really reposition themselves for like super high quality content that your team, your internal creative team, or your AI tools can't generate. That's what I'd say.
Yeah, that's very well said. And in fact, this is what I've also noticed in last 2 years is that brands are coming up with some insane problem statement that their team can't do. And
Yeah.
what I mean, the one beautiful thing out of this is that now I have like a really high quality like output level of output, and I also genuinely feel for a lot of these traditional agencies is that putting out mediocre work is actually a choice.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that's why I also get a lot of hate because I'm just another agency trying to sell services, creative services, stuff like that. But I think I definitely agree with you on that.
Yeah.
I've also been seeing a pattern of shifting. So, I mean, in my team only, like I have a bunch of people who does number of things. Even if it's not the best, it's good enough. and there has been conversation of hyper specialized, and I genuinely feel like give them a counter answer is that India is probably not the place for hyper specialized services.
Yeah.
Because people have, they have different, they have cultural nuances, they have different biases where they can't be hiring five different agencies or like set of folks
Yeah.
to do five other things.
Yeah.
What do you think? Is it finally the age of generalists?
Yeah. I would say so. Again, if somebody had aspirations to become a creative person, join the creative industry. I mean, it pains me to say this as a copywriter who did so much to learn the craft. Like, I really
Well, you're
had to
not a
do-
copywriter
Yeah.
anymore. Bharat,
No, but
so-
I mean, like you started off with copywriting, and I really wanted to be a good copywriter, and I really worked very hard to do that. If somebody was getting into the field now, I'd say you should generalize and not specialize. It's better to have, like, it's better to be at like instead of having 90 on 100 on one skill and like basically 20 on 100 on other skills, maybe you could be at 60 on 100 in three or four different skills, because that I feel will be recognized, will get you places and will get you the kind of jobs you eventually want. And it's not about putting your eggs into multiple baskets. It's more, I feel, where the industry is going, and especially given AI, how you should build your own career. I think it is the age of generalists. Uh, in fact, when I joined this industry, generalists were seen as the misfits. Like, you guys don't belong here. You can't do anything properly. Like, that was the opinion. But I feel the time has come for you to generalize. That's what I tell my team too. If you're just a designer, and if you just take this thing of, oh, I'll only design, and I will not get into thinking about communication, and I especially tell those people, don't do that. Like, it's long term, you're gonna regret having done that now.
Yeah, and I think this is again one of the most important skill to be irreplaceable.
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
I think if you just doing one thing, you might be replaced by someone tomorrow, or it could be this could be a tool.
Yeah.
This could
Yeah,
be just
yeah,
just
exactly.
a tool.
I think the mindset of a generalist is also that he will try to find different tools that can work in kind of like symphony to create something he wants. So whereas if you're a specialist, you'll only know design tools. So I just feel, yeah, it's just the same thing. I feel we're in the age of creative generalists. That would be my advice.
That leads us to the last question of the podcast, Bharat. What are the few things that you'd like to recommend to fresh creators, and even to the people who are been into the creative space and trying to figure out the future, as even if they're not getting replaced right now, they're super scared. I think this is a super hot conversation. It's very hard for people to find a job. It has become super difficult to talk about the value of design, value of creativity, to be specific. To would use this, and like the things, like the practices that one should follow.
Very big question. So I'll just mention the two things that are top of my mind. One thing is, I think the job of a creative person is not going to die. Regardless of what AI can generate, there'll always be a time and a place for creative thinking, especially to solve business problems, whether it's design thinking, whether it's some other type of thinking. There'll always be room for this. And that's not going anywhere. It's been around for the last 50 years, 1960, and it's going to continue to be here. And in fact, like we just spoke about, this the whole creator economy is based on that. So it's going to be here. So you're not going to be out of a job, but yeah, don't specialize. Probably that's the way to go. And my other piece of advice, two things I'd like to say. As a creative person, it took me a long time to figure these two things out. Like, you probably came into the creative field because you saw something which blew your mind, right? And you're like, I would also like to do something like this. What I'd like to say is, it's gonna take you a while to get there. Like, you join, and in 6 months you're not going to create that same piece of work which you saw and were like mind blown. That is not going to happen. It does not that it's never happened. I'm sure it's
Yeah.
happened in a few edge cases, but most likely it's going to take years, and sometimes it might even take decades. But what you should always have that patience. You should not be like, it's been 5 years in my career. I still don't have that one piece of work which I want to go and show everybody. See, I made this. So it used to bother me a lot. Like as a young creative, I'm like 3 years, not one. I mean, I had a few ads which I could show, but I was like nothing that I was super proud of.
Yeah. That's
So-
always the case with
Yeah.
creative. Yeah.
So I would say have patience. What you should instead stress about on a daily basis and worry about is developing taste and developing that fine ability to see something and with a critical eye to pinpoint what it is that works and what it is that doesn't. And even before the critical eye, I think will come. I think, but taste, you should develop very good taste. You should be like, what a great piece of work when you see one, and you should call out mediocre,
Yeah.
lazy pieces of
Yeah.
work when you see that too. So I would say don't stress too much about that one piece of work because that usually takes time. The other thing is you should have creative outlets outside of work. The reason people want to get into the creative field is because they feel it gives them a creative outlet, which is true. It does. I won't deny that. But what happens is you feel that I poured my heart and soul into this creative, and the client rejected it. Now I feel awful. Like I've had those times where we worked days together on something and the client says no. And you feel like as a creative person, right? Like you poured your heart and soul into that, and then now it's nothing. It's just the file sitting on my system. So the only way I learned to deal with this is to have creative outlets outside. You want to write something, you want to design something, you do it outside of work, because then you'll feel like you expressed yourself truly and fully, and two, you can share it with the world, and the world will recognize the authenticity and they will actually like you for it. A lot of designers have their own page. Like a lot of designers put up their designs
Yeah.
on their Instagram.
Yeah.
It's because of this, and I feel it's a great practice. Even put your rejected work also, like, and then see what a
Yeah.
client was stupid to not run this. It is very important not to get too attached to the outcomes of your creative work life.
Yeah, that would be number one for me, honestly. Like you should know how to detach yourself
Yeah.
and not
Yeah.
take everything so seriously.
Yeah, yeah.
Because you'll end up burning out, right?
Yeah. That's how
That's the-
burnouts happen.
Yeah.
You take things way too seriously, you'll just get so frustrated. And this is what I tell my creative team also. After you leave office, don't think about work. I'm not saying don't think about life as a creative
Yeah.
person. See other work or watch movies or think about other things, but don't think about work, because you need to detach and to like focus on something else. Otherwise, you won't be good at these 9 hours if you're thinking
Yeah.
about work even at home.
Yeah, it's gonna become like hell.
Yeah.
Very well said. All right, Bharath. Pleasure talking to you, Bharath. A lot of insights,
Yeah.
and I hope you had a good time.
It was great. Like, it was great talking to you. It just basically felt like I was just sitting and chatting with another creative person.
Yeah.
And trust me, I've met so many creative people, like this casually. And this is the topics we spoke about today are the topics we always discuss. So
Yeah.
this just
Yeah.
didn't feel any different that way.
Awesome, Bharath.
Yeah.
Have a good one.
Yeah. Thank you.